Recording. Oh.
Hello and welcome to the Take 3 live show. I am your host, Jacob London. Evan could not be here today, but we have an awesome panel today. I am joined by Kristen Smith. How are you?
Hello, great, and excited to talk about some stuff on this lovely Friday evening.
Chris Clark, how you going?
I'm doing great, Jacob. It's going to be a fun day. It's going to be a rocking day. It's going to be a great show.
Matthew Kearns, what's up?
I'm doing great. I can't wait to talk about the power of Reese Witherspoon. That's what I'm looking forward to.
And guys, he's back. He is back in America. I was about to say Australia. Wow, that could have been very bad.
Incorrect.
That would be strange.
Incorrect.
No, guys, he's back. Ryan, how's it doing, man? You're back from your tour. Thank you very much for your service.
Yes,
absolutely. It's good to be back in America and not the desert, so that's great. The weather's awesome. It's not super hot all the time, and I get to be talking movies with you guys, so what more could I want? You know what I'm saying?
Aww.
Exactly. All right, guys, we have an awesome show. Unfortunately, as we did say, we were going to have Whitney on today. Unfortunately, he has had to pull out. He isn't able to join us today, but we will get him back. He will be on a show eventually. We'll just get him back. Guys, today we've got an awesome show. We're talking about everything that's happening in Star Wars, because what the fuck happened this week? And we're also going to talk about all of 2016 in film. I'm really looking forward to it. But guys, Chris, take her away with this week's news.
All right, Jacob. In this week's news, let's bring this up now. All right, cool. In this week's news, guys, Star Wars Episode 9, Colin Trevorrow has dropped out of being the director of Episode 9. We'll get to that soon. The MCU in Star Wars is going to be leaving Netflix due to the Disney thing. Amazon and Apple are now fighting over for the rights to James Bond, and and the box office, it is looking to be the biggest box office sensation of September we've ever seen. Jacob, what are your thoughts?
So, guys, I'll just share with your thoughts. We're going to talk about the Star Wars Episode 9 news a bit later, so we will get to that. But Disney pulling out of Marvel, Disney pulling Marvel and Star Wars out from Netflix. Wow, I'm off to a great start, everyone. This is fantastic.
Friday.
I'm off to a great start.
He's been working a little early.
It's Saturday morning.
Wow, that's even more pathetic.
Bad awesome.
It's never too early.
Matthew, what are your thoughts on Disney pulling out Marvel and Star Wars?
This is. They're all children. This is interesting because a couple of weeks ago we were talking about the news story of this new streaming service Disney is launching. I wonder if this is their way of kind of being like, yes, this is happening. The first way to do it is to take the Marvel and Star Wars stuff off Netflix. I'm interested because I'm wondering, what does this mean for the series like Defenders, Daredevil, Jessica Jones? Is Disney going to be like trying to fight to get those to be pulled off of Netflix so they can be put onto these new streaming services? Because that could be a bargaining chip for fans to pay for the service. Could be, this is the only place you can see all of the Marvel shows now. So it's interesting. I don't even remember seeing a Star Wars movie on Netflix, at least here. I know I saw a couple of MCU movies, but I don't even remember. So that's, yeah, except for Rogue One. Okay, that's the one.
Well, Rogue One, see, the deal that came out last year was that all of Disney films post the Stars deal, which was in 2019. So Disney had a deal with the Stars Network. That expired in 2015. And then they signed a 3-year contract. I think it was a 3-year deal with Netflix that all of their films for 3 years will be turning up on Netflix. That includes, so Force Awakens was included in the Stars deal, but Rogue One was able to include in Netflix. Last Jedi will be included in the Netflix deal. They're going to pull out eventually, but it's going to take them a while before they get there. What I think is most interesting about this is, to me, I think that Disney are going to CBS All Access this, and we're gonna get our Star Wars series. I think it's the only way that if they're gonna sell this streaming service that they're creating here, a Star Wars series is the only way for me that I think they can actually sell it, and have, hey, you want to watch the new Star Wars series? You have to sign up for this streaming service. It's going to be probably $15 a month. Kristen, what were your thoughts on the Disney pulling Marvel and Star Wars from Netflix?
I just don't care. If I'm gonna watch those movies, I'm just gonna buy them, and I already own them, so it doesn't even matter. This Disney streaming service business is ridiculous. Unless it's $1 a month, I'm not gonna get it. I don't know anyone who will pay for it unless there is a Star Wars series. That would be the only way that I would watch or buy into that at all. And I would wait until it's all been out on the thing, and I would pay for 1 month, and I would watch it, and then I would cancel it right away. They're gonna lose a lot of money on this, and I think it's just a bad idea. But to each his own. I just don't think that it's really that big of a deal that they're taking their movies off. I guess some people care about that, though. So.
Yeah, I do agree with that. That I do think that they're not going to be one of these. I think they are going to take a lot more control over their products, and Disney are very much showing that they want control over their products. Ryan, what was your thoughts on Disney pulling Marvel and Star Wars out?
Honestly, sort of what Kristen said, I don't care a whole lot because I already own all these movies on Blu-ray, and that's my preferred way of watching them because I think it looks better and it sounds better, whatever. So, I mean, if they want to take it off, fine. If they want to make their own streaming service, that's a great way for them to make more money because somebody's going to use it. And if it means that we get a Star Wars series, then, I mean, that's just the cherry on top. I don't know if I would pay $15 a month for that. I might pay $15 a month to watch the series when it's done for that season, just watch it and then quit it. But, yeah, I mean, I can only see there's really the only thing that would affect me is if it's a positive thing and that we get a Star Wars series, which I'm waiting for. I am waiting for a Star Wars series.
Definitely, and I would be shocked if we didn't get one. But, Chris, what were your thoughts?
Well, look. The Disney Netflix thing is actually really interesting. I know Matt has brought up about the Netflix television series for Marvel. I'm worried about if that's going to affect the budget for those shows. If, for example, instead of Daredevil being brought by Netflix, it's now brought by this own company. Is Daredevil going to suffer censoring? Is Daredevil going to suffer any budget cuts? Or maybe it's even better that it gets a boosted budget. That's the first thing that came to my mind when I heard about that. Other than that, I feel like it's a strong move. A lot of people want these, a lot of people want easy access to just Disney movies, and people will pay for it. I don't see any problem with that, Jacob.
See, I have a feeling that Disney, from what I read the first time that they announced this deal, that they announced that Disney were pulling out of Netflix, and this is what they were doing. Marvel have already given Netflix the rights to those characters. Like the Daredevil show and those shows, Disney can't take them onto another service unless they pay for them. So those shows are okay. It's going to be if there's any of the added shows. So if they decide to do an Elektra TV show just on its own, or if they decide to do another TV series, that's where it's going to get interesting, and I don't know what happens then. But guys, in the chat, you guys are blowing up. Thank you so much. This is incredible. Tell us, what do you think about the Netflix, about Disney taking away pretty much they are 100% taking all of their content away from Netflix. They have confirmed it is including Marvel and Star Wars. Let us know. I'm enjoying everyone who's here in the chat. Thank you so much for joining and watching along with us. But let's move on to our next story. Amazon and Apple are officially in the race and bidding for the James Bond distribution rights. Now, for those of you who don't know, at the end of 2015, the distribution right deal with Sony expired. So Spectre was the last film that Sony were to distribute. They are in the running to get the next film, but I doubt that will actually happen. The current front runner is Warner Brothers, and Warner Brothers are pushing hard for it. They really want these rights because I think Warner Brothers realize that they do need that. They need another key brand name franchise. But now Amazon and Apple have joined the bidding war in an attempt to get James Bond onto to have it being an original programming on online media. So, Matt, we'll start with you. What are your thoughts on Amazon joining this bidding war?
This is interesting because, you say like Amazon distributing. I mean, what does that mean? Like, I know Amazon has done like their own films. Manchester by the Sea is one that I'm sure we'll be talking about later. But like, as far as my knowledge, they don't really have the distribution rights to like something as big as James Bond. That's like a worldwide thing. So I'd be interested to see how they would handle having a big franchise like that. Warner Bros. Of course is, I mean, they're a big studio. They've been around for a while. But yeah, Amazon, I'm interested, unless anyone knows if they have the rights to something that they've been distributing for a while. But as far as my knowledge, all they have is like small indie films.
Yeah, so this is kind of like to take everyone an example most people know about, Death Note came out on Netflix about 2 weeks ago. It opened up on Netflix. It was, produced, distributed by Netflix. It was a Netflix movie. Essentially what Amazon want to do is they want to go, all right, we want to make James Bond movies on Amazon and distribute it through streaming services and also probably same day in theaters. Now, I don't know if that will work. I doubt it will. And the same thing with Apple. I think everyone's kind of ignoring the fact that Apple want to do this because Apple are trying very hard to get into the streaming market. They want access to it, and getting James Bond. If Apple had the distribution rights to James Bond, that would be huge. Ryan, what are your thoughts?
It's interesting to me. I mean, Amazon already has plenty of experience in the streaming market. To be honest, I haven't seen a whole lot of their stuff, but for one, Man in the High Castle is great as far as TV goes, and then they had Manchester by the Sea. So they've got some experience, and I could see them taking James Bond and doing just fine with it. Apple's a little more interesting to me because they haven't really done much of anything in this space. So I think they would kind of have to sit down, figure out how they want to build it, and then go for it. But I mean, it's Apple. They do all sorts of stuff, and either you love them or you hate them. I happen to think they do a pretty good job at whatever they put their minds to, so that could be interesting. But if I had to pick between them, I think I would have more faith in Amazon just because they have a little bit more experience in this space, and I think that James Bond could really benefit from it. I mean, there's no reason that they couldn't.
Yeah, exactly. Kristen, what are your thoughts on this news?
I'm actually kind of excited about Amazon getting this. So some of the stuff that Amazon has co-distributed on is Love and Friendship, which came out last year, which was surprisingly good. Neon Demon, which was a trip and a half. The Handmaiden, which was also a trip and a half. Patterson, which was really just a well-done movie. Velocity of Z, The Big Sick. And then they've got some really good stuff coming out later in the year and then next year as well. So like people don't realize how much Amazon is in the game right now. They are coming out with really great indie flicks that are not just winning awards, but topping people's lists of movies of the year. And I think it's important to note that. And they don't have their hand in any action franchises right now. And I think that they want that because they have a lot of these indie dramas. They've got some horror stuff out there, and they need to get some further reach. And so I think that James Bond could be a good way to do that. And I think that the stuff that they've been involved in has been really solid. So I'm excited if that does happen. If some of these other studios take the franchise, it'll, in my opinion, just be more like same old, which I guess there's nothing wrong with that. It's James Bond. There's nothing wrong with normal James Bond movies. But I'm kind of excited to see what a different distributor could do with these movies if they got a chance.
I am also of the opinion, all right, if Amazon get this, that is going to be a big nail in the coffin of theater going for big, giant summer blockbusters. I think losing James Bond, while it might not seem like a massive deal at first, I think this will be one that if Amazon do get James Bond, which look, it's looking more likely it's not going to happen. Like Warner Brothers pretty much have it signed, everything except signed on the dotted line. Like they are the ones that are most likely going to get it. We are most likely going to get a Warner Brothers distributed Bond film. That said, if Amazon get it, I think that is going to be a huge nail in the coffin of theater going. Chris, what are your thoughts on Amazon getting James Bond in general?
Well, look, anybody getting James Bond is huge. I mean, I would prefer to go to a studio just because I'm a traditionalist. But if it were to go to Amazon or if it would go to Apple, the movies would be more like readily available for streaming for free, basically. I don't think anything, not even Netflix, has the movies for free streaming on their services. So that would be a very, very, very big plus. As long as there is still continued interest in the franchise, I could really care less where it is as long as I have my Bond. That's really that's as blunt as I'm going to be. As long as I have my Bond, I will go and I will buy whatever I need to get it. Exactly.
All right, guys, last news story, and this is kind of a big one, and we'll tie kind of into what we're going to do next. But the movie this weekend, It is expected to break basically every single record that September has ever had. This is huge for this movie, guys. At the moment, it is predicted to make $80 million. I personally don't think it is going to get to that. But, Kristen, you have seen It. What are your thoughts? Do you think it will break pretty much every record in the book?
Wait, what? What's going to break every record in the book?
And she had to do it.
You're welcome. Okay, now that we've got that out of the way, let's all get over the fact that every time we say it, we are probably referring to the movie and not the pronoun. Okay, so this is a great movie. I really, really enjoyed it, and I think that it's going to do very well. Now, whether or not it makes $85 million this weekend is another question. I think that it has the potential to do so. Honestly, it's got great buzz, and it will continue to have it because it's a very well done movie, and it's already breaking records. As of last night, it's already broken the record for the biggest Thursday night opening of any horror movie ever, any R-rated movie ever, and any September movie. So I think this is definitely looking good for the movie It, and specifically with the fact that we are in a bit of a drought. The last couple weeks, we have not had a lot of good movies come out in theaters. We will not have any good movies coming out in theaters for another couple weeks after this. So people are going to watch this movie. And I think they might even see it more than once. And I'm excited for that because I want better made horror movies. I want them to come out and do really well. And I also don't want more fucking Saw movies. So can we get some better horror movies out on the market, especially early on? And I think it was a smart move for them to push it into September instead of October. And yes, I just all around love this movie. Love that it's making money. Make all the money, please, and thank you.
Exactly. Yeah, no, it is becoming a phenomenon. And look, Warner Brothers are starting to actually really build credibility in the horror market. I mean, you think about the fact that they're giving this money. I mean, Annabelle this year was a Warner Brothers film. It, Warner Brothers film. The Conjuring 2. I mean, I know they're all the same kind of franchise other than It, but they're giving these directors a budget to actually make these movies, and it's showing, and they're going to start getting the money. Ryan, what are your thoughts on It basically breaking every record?
That gives me confidence that it's a good movie. I haven't seen it yet, but I'm very excited to go see it tomorrow. I always like when a horror movie gets attention, because that just tells me that it's not a garbage one, like some Saw fucking bullshit. I don't even know. I'm very picky about my horror movies. So if I hear that it's breaking records and people are loving it, it's getting good reviews, that just gets me excited to see it. And ultimately, like, I don't care if a movie makes a whole lot of money, because I'm not getting any of it. I'm spending my money. So fuck if I care if it makes a lot of money, as long as it's a good one. So this just indicates that it's a good one. So I'm happy that it's breaking records. And yeah, like I said, it's always good when a horror movie like this gets recognition. So
exactly. Chris, what were your thoughts?
Well, look, I'm really happy that it is making the amount of money that it's going to most likely make. I was a huge fan of the movie series back in the 90s. I loved that. Tim Curry killed it, and I'm glad the remake is doing its due. When we first saw the trailer, we knew something was that movie had magic, and audiences are obviously receptive to that. I've seen it. I loved it. It's very atmospheric. No spoilers. The beginning is really interesting. But yeah, this movie is going to go a long way, and I might even see it again.
Now, Matt, as the one person here who's probably never going to see this movie, what are your thoughts? Is the positive buzz surrounding this film and the fact that it's going to smash every record convincing you, hey, maybe I'll go check it out?
You see Josh McCouga afterwards? No, I'm not going to see it. No. However, this is just interesting because it is a horror movie. Usually when you hear terms like breaking box office records and highest Thursday night opening, usually it's a comic book movie, a Star Wars movie, not a horror film. So I think that does say something about the quality of the film, that this is a movie that I think is going to get a lot of good word of mouth. And who knows? Maybe one day I'll see it when it's on Netflix and I can watch it, with all the lights on. Not likely, but it's interesting.
Oh, don't worry. We might be doing a watch along for it one day. All right, guys.
Yes.
All right, guys. Let's move on to, speaking of box office. This week, we have two massive new releases opening. We have It and Home Again opening this weekend. Matt seems to be in love with the movie Home Again. 2 weeks ago in our box office, Case managed to win it that week. But this week, let's start with Kristen. What have you got?
Okay, so box office this week, I've got at number 5, Annabelle Creation. I know there's another horror movie out this week, but there's not much else in theaters, so that's pretty much it. Wind River, I have at 4. I want it to do better, but it's a smaller film. I think it'll crack the top 5 at least, so that's good. Hitman's Bodyguard will hold on at number 3. Home Again, which I have no desire to see, but that's fine. And It will be number 1. I have it at 82.
Oh, 82. All right.
Interesting.
All right. So Ryan, as your first week back, we'll let you off this week.
Yeah. Whatever Kristen says, just write me in for that.
You don't have to do your homework this week. Chris Clark, what have you got this week?
All right, cool. I have at number 5, I have Hitman's Bodyguard. At number 4, I have Annabelle because of what Kristen said. It's the horror movie it's another horror movie. Maybe if you can't get into it, you'll get into that. 3, I have Wind River, which I really loved. Wind River was really interesting and dark. 2, I have, what is that called? I can't even read it. It's Home Again. That's it. I thought it said Homer Gorilla. whatever. It's home again. And then at 1 I have it making 90 mil.
Whoa.
Wow, $90 million. That would
That's
be amazing. Matt, where is Home Again on your list?
This is now prepared for the correct list. Now at number 5, I have it. I mean, who's going to see this movie? What regular? No, okay. I'm kidding. In reality, I have at number 5, I have Logan Lucky. I don't think Annabelle is going to stick around, and I think it's because it is going to be so huge that any horror movie fans or any film fans in general who would want to see Annabelle are probably going to go and see it. Because I know we all like to live in a world where everyone goes to the movie every week, regardless of what they're seeing, but that's not the world we live in. At number 4, I have Home Again. Yeah, I know, everyone. Moment to laugh. Listen, I have seen no marketing for this movie whatsoever. I actually did not know it was a movie until I started to do research to do box office this week. At number 3, I have Wind River. I've been hearing a lot of great things about this movie. Even though it's a smaller indie film, I think we have seen in the past that on slow weekends such as this, these types of movies with good word of mouth can grow. At number 2, I have Hitman's Bodyguard. This is really the only comedy action movie out right now. And I think it's been at number 1 at the box office so long, I don't see it dropping to number 5 at all. And at number 1, I have it. The buzz around it is huge. A lot of people have been anticipating it, and I have it making 78.
Fair enough. All right. Now I'm the conservative one here, and I think I'm going to regret it. Number 5, I've got Wind River. I think Wind River is on the downtrodden. Now, look, I haven't been able to see it just simply because it was here for 1 week in Australia and then decided, nah, we're going to leave now. So I didn't get to see Wind River. I have to wait until it comes out on Blu-ray. Thank you very much, Australian Distribution. I hate you. Number 4, look, I agree with Chris here. I think it is going to sell out that many theaters that people are going to go to the theater. Hey, we want to see it. It's sold out. We're in a horror mood. All right, let's go see Annabelle because we're here. And I think a lot of people are going to do that. And we used to have that happen all the time in our theater. So I do think I can see that happening. Number 3, I've got Hitman's Bodyguard. Look, I think, number 1, going from number 1, it's not going to drop further than that. It's not going to make any money this weekend, though. It's going to make $9 million. So it's at the end of its run. Home Again, look, Matt said there's been no marketing, but I think Reese Witherspoon is a $10 million movie. I think in September that there is $10 million in that movie, which it should be able to generate. Even with no marketing, it should be able to generate $10 million, which would put it to number 2. Number 1, I have it. Really lowballing it. I've gone 70 million, and I'm really regretting that number. So I'm gonna be completely wrong in that number, and it's gonna make something. Look,
watch it make
I think there is a chance it does make 100 million. I don't think it will, but there is a small chance. But there is a small chance. I'm going to go with 70 million though, because I'm an idiot. But
made 20% of that already, so
yeah, I'm an idiot.
Yesterday.
Hey, he admitted that he's an idiot, so.
Paul in the chat asked, do you guys have a movie pass equivalent in Australia, Jacob? No, we do not, and it sucks. I really want a movie pass because I would actually go all the time. We do have, our theater does have a loyalty program where if you pay full price, which is $20 fucking a ticket, if you pay full price every single time, on your 6th time, they will shout. That's it.
Shout?
That is they will pay.
Oh, okay. I thought they'd be like, "Hey, you came for a 6th time."
they'll shout us our ticket. They will. So if you go 6 times, your 7th one is free. That's the equivalent of my movie pass. So yeah. All right, guys. Let's move on to the big news story. This is going to take up a lot of our chat. Colin Trevorrow has dropped out of Star Wars Episode 9. Now, there's conflicting reports on if he dropped out or if he was fired. I've heard he's been fired. I've heard he's dropped out. I've heard it's a mutual. I've heard it was not mutual. But let's talk about this, I think, has opened up a bigger can of worms of, is there a problem within Lucasfilm? Because that is now the 4th director that they have now essentially sacked or had an issue with while making a movie. 5th, if you want to talk about screenwriters as well, because you've got Gareth Edwards had issues. He was he played ball, but he was sacked. He was sacked, but he played ball, and so he wasn't sacked. You've got the Millers now, Josh Trank, and now Colin Trevorrow. That's 4 people. Is there an issue inside Lucasfilm? Kristen, what are your thoughts?
I don't think there's an issue inside Lucasfilm. I think they're being protective of their property, and I think they should be. This is the biggest property in the world. Honestly, it is. There's very few things in this world that are more beloved than Star Wars. And if one of these directors F's this up, they're going to have a lot of angry fans. A lot of angry fans. And the report I read that came out maybe an hour or 2 ago was that Trevorrow was fired because he was very difficult to work with. What the article was saying was that he had been submitting scripts that were not approved. His working relationship with Catherine was really, really bad, so bad that she had to let him go. If that's the case, I don't really want him directing a Star Wars movie. I'd rather have someone else do that. The other people who have been let go of, I can't comment on that, but I haven't really been a big fan of Colin Trevorrow up to this point. I mean, he's just okay in my opinion. And so I'm really not upset that he was let go. And I see no problems with a studio being protective of their sacred cow. So.
Yeah, exactly. Like I do understand that. See, I'm coming from the perspective that I actually believe Lucasfilm are 100% in the right here. Now, Colin Trevorrow, obviously, look, there is a big elephant in the room when it comes to talking about Episode 9, and that is the fact that when Colin Trevorrow was hired, they were all talking about, okay, this is the story we want for Episode 9. Then, sadly, Carrie Fisher passed away, and that changes everything. Like that does change your movie. That changes your agreements. That changes everything on how you are going to make this movie. So it comes down to, all right, what do we do with, like, how do we go about changing this next story and all agreeing on it? And clearly they didn't agree on it. Ryan, what were your thoughts?
I was surprised. Yeah, obviously, like, I agree that Carrie Fisher passing had an effect on it, but I'm surprised that they didn't just kind of keep him and try to work through it. Again, we'll never know, like, the entire story, what all was said behind closed doors. But I mean, what some people point to, okay, the Book of Henry didn't do so well, but he had Jurassic World, and that's his only blockbuster up until this point. And whether you like it or not, it still made money. And so I'm not disappointed necessarily, because I think that there are plenty of directors out there that they could go for. But I was certainly surprised. And yeah, I mean, it's I don't even know. Like, the fact that it comes on the heels of this whole Ron Howard with Han Solo, all of that, it just doesn't look all that great, to be honest.
I agree. It was, but I also do agree with what Manning said in the chat that, all right, guys, they did this before. They did it before they got to, 5 months into shooting, 3 weeks before the end of principal photography, and went,
which is comforting.
This isn't working out. So,
and that's comforting.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, they're getting on top of it instead of hey, they're getting better. They did it in post-production for Rogue One. They did it during filming for Han Solo. During Episode 9, they're doing it before filming started. So they're getting better. That being said, I I think that I would be curious to know why they jumped into bed so quickly with Trevorrow. I've said this from day one about why was Trevorrow hired so early when comparing that to Ryan Johnson with episode 8. And like the episode 7 wasn't even out yet. Or I think it was out for like a month or so. Like it had barely been out when Trevorrow was hired. Whereas in Ryan Johnson got hired about a month, like 6 months before episode 7 came out. So Matt, what were your thoughts?
I mean, to sort of piggyback on what you were saying, yeah, I thought it was strange that they even chose Colin Trevorrow so quickly, because I really love Jurassic World, and I know it made a lot of money, but I'm not sure you can say that's because Colin Trevorrow. I think it's, like, he wasn't really that bigly. That was his first blockbuster, and we saw with what his Book of Henry was the movie he did. Like, that made nothing, and I think even though we don't know everything, kind of like what Kristen was saying is, then Kathleen Kennedy and there were people at Lucasfilm sort of looked, and maybe there was difficulty with them, and just with the problem they're having with now developing the story of Star Wars, of episode 9, maybe they're like, it might be a better idea to get a more experienced director with films like this to be brought on. I am glad, however, that it wasn't like they had them filming and then they took, because that's a whole nother thing. Like, Disney needs to get some better PR people for Lucasfilm. That's for sure.
Yeah. Paul brings up a great point in the chat, saying even phase 1 of the MCU was in shambles at first. They didn't get their shit together until the Avengers. That's true. Yeah. Like you and it was funny. I always mention this whenever we look back on 2012. There were 3 movies coming out in 2012 that were the 3 movies. There was The Hobbit, there was The Dark Knight Rises, third place, The Avengers. Avengers was always third place. Hobbit and Dark Knight Rises were the 2 big ones everyone was looking forward to. They were the ones everyone was talking to. The trailers for Avengers weren't that good until the final trailer, which had the, I'm coming and the thing flying behind him. That trailer was what sold the movie and was, all right, this movie's going to be awesome. But going into 2012, Avengers was the third place. It was the one I'm kind of looking forward to it. Now look at it. I mean, if you said, hey, would you rather watch? The Hobbit, The Dark Knight Rises, or The Avengers? Which one? Exactly. Like, everyone says Avengers. But, okay, so I do also want to go into who do we think now? Now that we've talked about, okay, this is what's happened inside the, this is what's happened. Who do we want to fix it? So, Matt, who would be your big pick for directing episode 9 right now? If you could have any director right now to direct episode 9, who would it be?
Okay, I'm going to give you the 2. The one that I would love to happen, but I know probably isn't, which is Spielberg. Just because he was supposed to direct Return of the Jedi. Lucas wanted him, but because Lucas dropped out of the Directors Guild, he couldn't get him. That would be amazing. Spielberg is one of the greatest filmmakers of all time. Him and Kathleen Kennedy have a fantastic relationship. So the only problem is Disney with Star Wars, as we've seen with the directors, likes to be very controlling. Spielberg is a little bit too big to be controlled, which I think could be a problem. So my more realistic approach would be, I actually think Ryan Johnson would be really good. We haven't really heard of any behind-the-scenes problems of Ryan being difficult to work with. He's made great movies like Looper. If Last Jedi turns out to be as great as I think it's going to be, I would be excited for Ryan Johnson to be brought on to do episode 9.
Yeah, Ryan Johnson, like, it's funny. Episode 8 so far has been the only movie that we have not heard any behind-the-scenes drama other than
The big elephant.
cast member died. Other than a cast member died side of the movie, and we don't know now how we're going to do the next film because she passed away. And that's the one thing we have, the negative thing that we've seen out of episode 8. But look, yeah, Rian Johnson would be a great pick. Ryan, who would you pick if you could have anyone direct episode 9?
Anyone in the world? Christopher Nolan, but that's probably not going to happen. Only because, all right, look, I love him, and it's different, and that would be the point. Is it's something different, and it's something out there. Granted, he would have to make it his own, and that's why it would never work, really, and it would never happen. But in all actuality, if I'm being realistic, Rian Johnson makes a lot of sense. Now, I would rather see The Last Jedi first, and then I would be sure about it, because if for some reason The Last Jedi doesn't live up to all my expectations, then I might be a little hesitant in having him come back. But I love Looper. This dude's an incredible writer. He's an incredible director. I have all the confidence in the world with him. So seeing him come back, yeah, that would be great. Anybody else? It's hard to pick. I mean, yeah, Spielberg, that's another dream, but it's just not going to happen. So, yeah, realistically, I mean, Edgar Wright, hell, even that would be cool. But, again, these are just, like, random, less than likely situations. So, for realism, I'd have to go with Rian Johnson.
Yeah, see, I highly doubt that they are going to go with – I highly doubt that anyone they pick, it's not going to be a small-time director anymore. I think – you're going to start then. I think you're going to start seeing Star Wars move away from you had a really great small indie film that was fantastic. We're not going to give you, and then go to, all right, here is the $200 million big giant blockbuster that is our Star Wars movie. The Nolan choice, I don't like for the main series. Manning mentions it, a saga film, like a Star Wars story spin-off. I would love Nolan to try one of those, because it would be one of his really cool things. But I don't want to see Nolan doing a main story. That said, Kristen, who would you like to see direct this one?
Okay, so I mean, I think realistically, it's going to be someone who has already directed for Disney and had good success with them. So Rian Johnson is an obvious choice. J.J. Abrams might even do it, because they're both very involved with the current script. And they're involved with kind of the way that this saga is kind of playing out. I also think that Ava DuVernay could be a good choice, and her name's been thrown out by a few people. She's making Wrinkle in Time for Disney right now. It's a bigger budget movie. I am interested to see what it turns out like, and I wouldn't want them to decide on her before they know what her first kind of big budget movie like that turns out to be. My dream scenario right now would be maybe Denis Villeneuve, because I think that would be fucking awesome.
Interesting.
So good. But then at the same time, I don't know that style-wise that would work with the other two movies and blend together. But if he could do like a solo movie, I would be so in for that.
See, yeah, exactly. I think that he would be very, very good for a solo movie. I don't know about episode 9. The Ava DuVernay pick is an interesting one. I really love that pick, and I have a feeling that's the one they might end up going with. Now, there's another few other picks but remember that she was offered episode 9 originally. She was the one that they offered episode 9 to. She turned it down because she didn't know how she would work in the Disney framework. Then they gave her A Wrinkle in Time. From all accounts, she has worked with Disney very, very well with A Wrinkle in Time. They have all worked very well, and it seems as though, and Disney have loved A Wrinkle in Time. Wrinkle in Time looks incredible. It is up there as one of my most anticipated movies of next year. I wouldn't be surprised if she is announced. But Chris, who would you like to see who would you like to see direct episode 9?
Oh, look, episode 9. It's sad that we don't have Colin Trevorrow. I know that he's done a lot of great things. I actually feel like Ryan Johnson. We haven't seen episode 8 yet, and I know that's a big handicap. What we need, but Ryan Johnson, from all accounts, killed it on episode 8. From what everybody said about how he directed it, if he brought everybody together, why not just not if it ain't broke, break it. Just bring him on and just have another repeat. I mean, I don't see how they wouldn't do that. I feel like Ryan Johnson is probably the man to go to. If not, as Matt said, Spielberg would be amazing to finally get that version, a Spielberg Star Wars. But my money's on Ryan Johnson, Jacob.
Yeah, I would very much. I do think. Look, if I was placing bets tomorrow, Ryan Johnson is, I think, best money is on Ryan Johnson. Ryan Johnson is the most obvious. Ryan Johnson is is probably the best and smartest choice. I think the other choice that is very highly likely would be Jon Favreau. I think that would be a nice, a very safe choice. I think Disney would be very, all right, we're going to push Star Wars. We're going to push we're going to push Lion King so that we can get Jon Favreau. I wouldn't be surprised with that. Or if, there will be things like that, I think that will happen. Though, guys, in the chat, we also have a million other names. Dave Filoni as a big name. He is, he is someone that everyone is saying. Duncan Jones is another one. That's an interesting name. That would be very good. Spielberg, obviously. Denis Villeneuve is another one. Patty Jenkins or Catherine Bigelow. There's some very interesting names. There are some great names in here. Guys, shout off in the comments who you would like to see direct episode 9 if you could have anyone. But we're going to move on to our big segment, our main segment for today. We're going to talk about the years in film of 2016. So all films from 2016. We're going to start with the month of January in 2016. Here were the 4 big films that came out in 2016. We had Ride Along 2, 13 Hours, Norm of the North, and Kung Fu Panda 3. Kristen, what stands out in there for you?
I didn't see any of those fucking movies because they were all bad. So, pass. Norm of the North, 5 out of 5.
Norm of the North is a kind of fan favorite around here. If you have seen Chris Doman's review, make sure you check it out on our channel. Matt, what stands out for you on that one?
None of these, except Norm of the North, only because I saw the nostalgia critic review of it. The rest, I've actually not heard terrible things about 13 Hours. I might check that out. I mean, just to see what Jim Halbert did after, he left The Office.
Chris in the chat. If anyone's wondering, Take 3 Productions in our chat is none of us. It's actually Chris. He's just, it's actually Chris Doman. He is actually in the chat just watching live. Unfortunately, he can't make it because he is at another event at work. So he's watching us at work. And of course, he is really happy that I just said Norm of the North. Chris, what stands out to you in that month?
Well, Kung Fu Panda 3 was a very cute movie. I wouldn't say it's the best of the Kung Fu Panda trilogy. I can't believe I'm saying that. I liked actually Kung Fu Panda 2 better than 1. And Norm of the North is just a big steaming pile of shit. It is really, really bad. The animation looks like something from PlayStation 2. The bear kind of looks like feces. I can't tell you how terrible that movie is on a scale of 1 to like zebra poop. It was terrible. I need to have a drink again. How much I said poop describing Norm of the fucking North. But yeah, that's all I have to say. The other movies I didn't see. I didn't fucking see that. I don't know. I'm just drunk. I don't care. I don't know. Yeah. But I'm good, Jacob. I'm good.
All right. Kung Fu Panda 3 was cool. That's man, January 2016 sucked. All right, but then we move on to the good movie. Honestly, a pretty awesome February in 2016. We had Hail Caesar, Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, Deadpool, Zoolander 2, The Little Prince, Gods of Egypt, and Eddie the Eagle. Chris, what stands out for you that month?
Well, Gods of Egypt, wasn't that like one of the biggest box office bombs in history? One of those. And I heard bad things about it. I haven't seen it, but I do know I think Gary Oldman kills it. And I'm using that term very loosely. But the one thing that does obviously stick out is Deadpool, one of the single funniest, hilarious, darkest comedies that you'll ever see. And it's a superhero movie. And it kicked off the whole rated R kind of craze that we have now. And Deadpool. Deadpool killed it that month. I haven't seen the other movies that you listed, but Deadpool was a solid movie, A++. I would watch it again right now if I could.
Sorry, and there was one other movie I also forgot. The Witch came out that month. So that was another big one that came out that month. But Deadpool obviously was the big movie of February. It made $363 million domestically on, look, for an R-rated superhero movie in February, that is massive. It set up, pretty much the month of just it dominated the month. But oh god, we're joined by Evan. Kristen, what were your thoughts on February in 2017?
2016?
2016, sorry. Jesus. I'm getting there. I'm slowly getting there. I'm slowly getting better at this.
All right. So I feel like it'd be weird if we all just talked about the same movie, so I won't talk about the obvious one. Hail Caesar was disappointing. The Witch is fan-fucking-tastic. I mean, just such a good movie. And not one that I think a lot of people got, because I know a lot of people who did not like it, but then maybe it was just a little too deep for them. And yeah, what else did I see that month? There was one other one, and I'm trying to remember what it was because I actually quite liked it. I just don't remember what it was. The Little Prince was a really great movie. If you haven't seen it, I think it's still on Netflix. It is just fantastic. You should definitely check that out if you have not seen it. And you'll probably cry.
Yeah, Little Prince has some of the, to me, we'll get to the other movie later that just slightly edged it out for me, but The Little Prince was one of my favorite animated movies of last year. I loved it, but this was such a strong year for animation. It's really difficult that I was so devastated it didn't end up on my top 10. But Ryan, what stands out for you in the month of February?
Deadpool, because really, when has that been done before? I mean, it stood out because of how it made itself stand out with the marketing, the incredible marketing, that campaign that they had. And they really just drilled into your consciousness like, hey, this R-rated superhero movie is going to be unlike anything you've ever seen. Now, I feel like maybe it was a little overrated. I feel like maybe people took it a little bit too far on how much they liked it, but I still really enjoyed it. And then I didn't see this movie until way later, but The Little Prince was also a really heartwarming movie. I had read the story before because my mom, she's huge into it. She loves that story. She grew up with it. So seeing it turned into a movie and actually having it be good, I was surprised that I liked it as much as I did. So those are the two that really stand out to me. But I mean, yeah, Deadpool. I mean, it's fucking Deadpool. So come on.
Fucking Deadpool. Sorry, had to do that. I love how none of us have mentioned Zoolander 2. Like that weekend. Okay, so when I worked in the movie theater, Deadpool 2 that weekend, Zoolander 2 and Deadpool opened. Deadpool was not in the prime time slot in our theater. It was Zoolander 2, and within an hour of Deadpool opening, that was swapped. And I've never seen it happen so fast. It was Deadpool's in everything, and Zoolander just gone. Like, Zoolander was gone within a week, I think. But Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, like, oh man, such a letdown. Hail Caesar was also Hail Caesar was a letdown as well.
Huge letdown.
But no, another movie that I don't think any of us talked about, Eddie the Eagle. Eddie the Eagle was such a sweet, lovely story. Evan, do you want to talk about it?
I didn't see Eddie the Eagle, but I heard it was great. So
set you up and everything.
Ah, shit. Who
Actually,
invited
I
him?
want to talk about real quick. Gods of Egypt is a fantastic. I'm just kidding. Deadpool's.
Oh my God.
Easily like, it's not even a competition. Like it's not even a competition.
All right, let's move on to the month of March. March was an interesting month. We had 10 Cloverfield Lane, Zootopia, London Has Fallen, Divergent, Allegiant, Midnight Special, and Batman vs Superman. Who would have thought going into 2016, hey, Zootopia and Batman vs Superman are opening up in the same month. Oh, by the way, Zootopia is going to make more money than Batman vs Superman. Like, who would have thought that? Zootopia ended up winning that month in the box office, making $341 million domestically. Batman vs Superman closed out at $330 million domestically. Kristen, what are your thoughts on the month of March in 2016?
Okay, so March was really, like, I liked Zootopia, but it was not my favorite animated movie of the year, not even close. I did really, really enjoy Midnight Special. Of March, that was my favorite movie. And I also really freaking love 10 Cloverfield Lane. Like, these movies are just so good. And Batman versus Superman was the biggest disappointment of 2016. So,
yeah, very true. All right, let's. I'll go to Ryan before I get to the controversial people on this panel. Ryan, what was your thoughts on 2016 in film? Sorry, in March.
Yeah. Oh, I got you. 10 Cloverfield Lane.
Yeah.
It stops there. That movie, holy shit. I mean, there were some people that are like, well, I don't like how it's got the aliens at the end. I don't really appreciate the aliens at the end. What the fuck did you expect? It's the sequel to a movie where the villain is an alien. That there's probably gonna be some fucking aliens in there. I'm really trying to hold it in, really trying to keep it together. There's fucking aliens in the movie. Like, what the fuck? Who doesn't want aliens in a scary movie like that? It's fucking amazing. The tension, the acting, the fucking everything. It's so good. Like, I don't understand how people are so down on it. I mean, if you don't really love it because it's not your type of movie, fucking fine. I don't give a shit. But let me love it and don't detract from it. Oh, it had aliens in it. What the fuck did you think was going to be in it? It's a movie that's a sequel to a movie about a fucking alien. I just don't get people. And then, yeah, Batman versus Superman sucked so bad. And the ultimate whatever the fuck made it a little bit better, but not enough. And then Zootopia, I thought was hilarious. I thought was incredible. It edges out Moana by the tiniest bit. So, yeah, fuck, 10 Cloverfield Lane. Watch a movie and enjoy it. Like, why you gotta be so down on shit? I don't get it.
Oh, my God.
Speaking of being down on shit, Evan, what were your thoughts in March of 2016 if we do have his internet, which I think we may have lost, Evan? I think we have. All right.
oh,
Matt, so sad.
I'll miss
Matt,
you.
let's go to you. All right, talk about it.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Listen, Zootopia, man. Like, it was a movie with Zootopia. I didn't even see Zootopia. Okay. Listen, it's on my wall. I don't care what people say. I enjoyed the hell out of Batman v Superman, and here's why. Are there problems with the movie? Yes. I would be stupid to not recognize problems in the movie. Did it affect my viewing of the film? No. Because to me, Batman and Superman are my two favorite superheroes of all time. Henry Cavill and Ben Affleck captured them perfectly. I finally got to see just the trifecta of Wonder Woman, Batman, and Superman coming together at the end was worth it. That was awesome. Are there problems? Yeah. Lex Luthor or Lex Jr., okay, was not good at all. I thought Lois Lane was a little misused in the story, but besides that, I freaking love this movie, especially the Ultimate Edition.
Yeah. All right, Chris, do you want to follow up on that?
I will follow up on that indeed. Thank you, Matt, for mentioning the Ultimate Edition. I will actually later on defend the theatrical cut. I loved it when I saw it in the theater. Batman v Superman has this great dark atmosphere. The story is fascinating. It's a very easy watch for me, and I love it. I personally don't see where the hate comes from, but I understand. It's not what anybody really wants. I get it, but I love it personally. Another thing you mentioned that came out this week was 10 Cloverfield Lane, which I actually think is one of the best movies of the year. 10 Cloverfield Lane, John Goodman nails it as this creepy guy who keeps this girl he won't let leave his house, and the twist ending is fantastic. Has nothing to do with the awesome movie Cloverfield, which I fell in love with, but it might. I don't know. Was that ever confirmed?
It kind of.
Yeah, I see Ryan going half and half.
We still have more movies to come that may not fill in.
One in October.
Yeah. That
got pushed to next year.
Yeah.
There's still one. Last I checked, there was still a placeholder for October.
Okay. Yeah, there's something. There's stuff coming.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is that movie was still as its own thing without even being associated with that great movie that I loved, Cloverfield, like 10 years ago. That movie, the drama, the pace, it was fantastic. It was a great theater experience for me, and I actually saw it 3 times. I love that movie so much, and March was a really good month for this year.
All right. Sorry about that. All right. So March for me, the one that obviously, okay, look, Batman vs Superman was Batman vs Superman. I didn't enjoy it at all. I did not, but Zootopia was amazing. London Has Fallen was horrific. Like, wow, that movie sucked.
Yeah, that came out.
I forgot about that.
Divergent Allegiant killed a franchise and basically killed an entire genre. Like, I love that. That has now killed a genre. So that's, I think, even funnier. But we are now joined by Evan. Please work.
Look, this is what happens when you get stuck in Louisiana with this Creole Wi-Fi. The point being, look, March was a really good year in film. A really good month in film, to put in perspective. But the one that stands out, and it's arguably one of the best films of the year, is Zootopia. The film covers a mass amount of different perspectives and a great storyline with great voices. It's just a straight up good film. It's like Pixar put their team into Disney, and then Disney put out a fantastic film. That's what I got.
All right. Well, with that being said, let's move on to April. It's funny. So far this year, we've had $300 million opening weekends as well. If you think actually 4 at this, 3 at this point. Batman vs Superman, Deadpool, and then we get into April. Jungle Book opens to over $100 million. Jungle Book is the biggest earner in March. It makes in April makes $364 million worldwide. In April, we also have Sing Street, The Huntsman, Winter's War, and Keanu. Ryan, I'm going to start with you. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, Sing Street. I'm gonna be honest. I don't like that as much as everyone else did. It was really, really good, and I appreciated the originality of it and the music and the style. It had a lot going for it, but ultimately, I think by the time I saw it, I had so many people talk it up to me that it just didn't meet these incredibly high expectations. I'm gonna eventually try and watch it again and see if my opinion changes at all, but I enjoyed it, just not as much as I thought I would, so I ended up walking away a little bit dissatisfied. And then as far as the Jungle Book, I mean, it's so incredible, like how beautiful that film is, and just every time I watch it, I'm surprised by the fact that this is real. Like, I live in an age where this can all be done by computers. It's fucking nuts. And the fact that we're about to get The Lion King, like, I think that the animated Lion King will always be one of my favorite movies, and I don't think that this remake will ever take its place. It's impossible, but I'm excited to see what they can do with this technology and see where they can take it. So yeah, I'm all for the Jungle Book and what it signals for the future. I loved it.
Yeah. Some people in the chat are mentioning that certain other countries got Captain America in April. We will get to that in May. I am going by American because, you know, everyone on this panel other than myself is American. So we got to cater to them.
We're going to talk about it. Okay.
You know, they kind of have an overlord at the moment. But let's move. I just had to do that. I'm sorry. I'm going to get killed for doing that. Kristen.
Yes.
Talk about April in 2016.
Well, April was a month in 2016 where stuff happened.
Wow.
No, so The Jungle Book is a gorgeous movie. It looks fantastic. The actor whose name I can't remember was
Neil something.
Yeah, he was just so good. I mean, he carried that movie. There was no other human actor in that movie, and he carried it all, and he was on green screen the whole time. Like, that is simply amazing, the work that kid did. I mean, so great. But Sing Street is in my top 3 favorite films of the year. I loved Sing Street, and I know that it got hyped up for a lot of people, and I'm really sorry that I overhyped it a lot because I really, really loved that movie so fucking much. And if there's ever like a time where I'm just like really sad or something, like I put that movie in. Like, that's my go-to feel good movie right now. And I have the soundtrack, and I listen to it at least once a week all the way through. Just great fucking movie.
Fair enough.
Hell yeah.
Look, I'm just gonna go over mine real quick. Huntsman Winter's War, I was forced to walk out of because Lauren absolutely despised it. So about 20 minutes in, she was like, I'm leaving. Fuck, you drove us here, so I had to go with her. She hated that movie. Sing Street, I adored. I was like Ryan, I saw it much later, but for some reason, I just still was able to love it. It was, you know, it's such a well-made film. The soundtrack is incredible. I fell in love with it so easily, and I just loved it. Jungle Book is one of those movies that, you know what, if it's on, I'll watch it, but it's not one that I'm jumping to watch, if that's understood, if you understand. Like, I won't be like, I feel like watching The Jungle Book tonight. It's like, nah, it's one of those movies where that was good. I enjoyed that. All right, I will see that when it's on TV, or when, you know, it's on Foxtel, or if I walk in and Lauren's watching it, because for some reason she loves it, so she has it on all the time. Chris Clark, what were your thoughts?
Oh, I actually only saw I saw Jungle Book in April. I remember that vividly. Jungle Book is great. The visuals are so jaw-dropping, and it just oozes visuals. It has it makes you feel good at the end of the movie. And of course you have fucking Christopher Walken as a giant orangutan. What is it? What's that song?
King Louie.
King Louis' song, and that was really cool. And
I want to be like you.
I want to be like you. Yeah, yeah, but he killed it. Again, John Favreau just proves that he cannot do wrong. And it was colorful. The colors popped. It was really well edited for mostly CGI movie. And yeah, it blew my mind. It actually exceeded my expectations. I thought we were going to get a repeat of the Disney Jungle Book, and it made it its own thing. Unlike a certain remake this year, back in March, that kind of just repeated everything that it did, that Disney movie did. So, yeah, I love the Jungle Book, and yeah, it was a good movie for April.
Yeah, so guys, there's quite a few movies that I've forgotten as well, just simply because, you know, I go by box office and hey, great movies miss out. But in the chat, tell me what movies have I missed? And you know, I've tried to go through so we're not literally here talking about 350 movies that came out last year. So people in the chat are mentioning that Green Room came out in April. They're also mentioning Everybody's Got Some, which was Everybody Wants Some, sorry, and Hush. If anyone want to talk about any of those movies, Kristen?
Green Room. Yay. It was so good.
Wait, Kristen, I'm sorry, we're lost. You're cutting out. You're saying
yeah, Green Room. It's a good movie.
All right.
And I'm mad that you left it off the list because IMDb has it as a 2015 film because it made its circuit in 2015. And it would have been in my top 10 if I had thought that it was a 2016 movie.
I am sorry.
This movie was so good. Like, it was like so surprising and like super brutal, and just like the way that they did it. Like, normally I'm not in I don't really like movies that have like violence for violence sake, but the way that they did the brutality violence in this movie was so good. Yeah, if you haven't seen it and you have a strong stomach, you should watch it. It's on Amazon Prime, I think.
All right. Matt, anything you want to talk about in April 2016 movie wise?
To be honest, we've been talking about I don't even remember what came out in April. Oh, Sing Street. Yeah, that's the one. I saw it on Netflix, so I forget that it like came out in April because I saw it so much later than everyone else. But that was a fantastic movie. I'm still annoyed that Drive It Like You Stole It wasn't nominated and won an Oscar for Best Original Song. That's a different conversation. But the movie,
stay salty, my friend.
That should just be the tagline of Take 3.
Yeah.
It was a great movie. Also, being like 99% Irish, you know, it's nice to see Irish people represented. Especially, it was fun watching with my dad because he knew like a bunch of the areas they were filming in. So
yeah. All right, guys. We will move. Evan, what are your thoughts?
Real quick, I need to shout out God's Not Dead 2 for being the worst movie of 2016. I don't use it anymore.
I don't know about that, but
Anyway.
All right. Let's move on to May. We are hit summer. We are officially now in the summer season. The biggest movie of that month was Captain America: Civil War, with $408 million in its domestic run. We also had the Angry Birds movie, The Nice Guys, X-Men Apocalypse, and Alice Through the Looking Glass open that month. We also had another film that was nominated for Best Screenplay, which was The Lobster. I'll start with Evan. What were your thoughts on these movies in this month?
The Nice Guys is the most overrated film of 2016, and you guys knew this was coming. It is so boring. The comedy does not work.
Oh, good.
Good.
Internet.
Oh,
Good.
Evan.
The internet hates Evan.
The internet has
During
done a
his
good
Nice Guys rant. That is amazing.
Good.
Oh my god.
Yes.
There
He's
is a
probably
god
so
in the
dumb.
world. All right, Ryan, talk about it.
The Nice Guys. Holy shit. It's not as good as Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, but it's still wicked good. So I don't understand how you can hate it. I thought it hit all the comedic moments that it needed to. I thought it was really clever. I mean, it's not like the greatest movie ever, but it's good enough to be called a good movie. And if you're saying that, oh, it's overrated and this, and I'm Evan and I don't know what a quality film is, get the fuck out of here. I don't want to listen to what the fuck you have to say. That's all I have.
Matthew Kearns, do you want to talk about what movies do you want to talk about in May 2016?
Civil War was fantastic. I think, even though I really love First Avenger and Winter Soldier, this is the best of the Captain America movies we've got so far. I just thought the drama, the action scenes. I liked how, even though it was an Avengers 3.5 in a way, with all the heroes, it still had its focus on Captain there. You still walked away with that was a Captain America story. And I'm interested after that to see where Cap's story continues.
Yeah, exactly. Kristen, now that we've avoided Evan's rant, give us your thoughts.
Okay, obviously the best movie of May was the Angry Birds movie. Just really classy movie. It's completely needed. Thank you, Hollywood, for making such a amazing movie. Was not a cash grab. Was not made too late in the cycle of movies. Just very fantastic. The Captain America, great movie. Loved it. It definitely was my favorite superhero movie of that year. And just did a great job of introducing Spider-Man and did a great job of furthering the Captain America story. But the correct answer is The Nice Guys. Just a fantastic movie. Did not make enough money. Did not get enough recognition. More people need to see it. I was a late adapter to the Nice Guys movie. I waited till it was out on video. And Jesus, it's just such a good movie. Russell Crowe and Ryan Gosling play off each other so well. And I'm not a huge fan of Russell Crowe's acting all the time, but just so good. Like, he was just perfect. And the way that they mixed the comedy and the action together was just so good. And I watched it the first time I watched it by myself. And then literally like 3 hours later, when my husband got home from work, I was like, we are watching this movie. I don't care that it's already midnight. You are sitting down and we are watching this movie. And so I watched it twice within like 6 hours, and it was 100% worth it.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. It's the same with so another big movie that I really enjoyed in May that we kind of aren't talking about is X-Men Apocalypse. I did actually enjoy it. It wasn't as good as Days of Future Past, but I enjoyed it. I thought, you know what, it's a cool movie. It worked well. I walked out saying, fuck the haters. This is a good movie. Go see it. I also find it interesting that I find it funny that the Angry Birds movie isn't the worst movie of May 2016. That is Alice Through the Looking Glass, because that movie was horrific. Like, that was one of the worst movies I saw all last year. I hated that movie so much. Like, I remember I just walked out for like 10 minutes. I went to the bathroom. I was just chilling. I was talking to some friends, and I went, all right, I'm watching a movie, and I left Lauren in there. I'm in trouble. And I just walked back in. And yeah, it's just one of those, it's one of those things that, oh man, that was a bad movie. But let's move on to June 2016. We had some really interesting movies here. We had Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows, The Conjuring 2, Now You See Me 2, Warcraft, Central Intelligence, and Independence Day Resurgence, and Finding Dory. Finding Dory made the most amount of money that weekend with $486 million. Let's start with Matt. What was your thoughts on June?
June was okay when it comes to moms. The one, I guess, Independence Day Resurgence. Listen, it wasn't an amazing movie, but then again, I love the original, but the original was popcorn actiony. I felt that was kind of what this one was. So I had fun with that movie.
For what Jacob was saying, I would say that yeah, Independence Day Resurgence. That was pretty good. I mean, it was good. It was decent. I mean, I love the first Independence Day. It wasn't anything terrible that I felt. I know a lot of people hated that movie. It was fun for me. And I also felt that what was it? Finding Dory. Finding Dory was a very, very fun romp. I think it's a little forgettable compared to the other sequels that Pixar has turned out, like Toy Stories 2 and 3, and Monsters University. But I mean, it was fun. Ryan, what did you think?
Yeah, I think the only one that I've seen is Finding Dory out of the movies from this month, but it was a really good one. You're right. Compared to some of the other sequels, maybe, but I laughed a lot. I enjoyed it, and I was surprised because Finding Nemo was never a Pixar film that I thought I needed a sequel to, but by the time we got it, they did a good enough job of getting me excited for it, and they're like, yes, this is a movie you need to see. I was like, oh, okay. I mean, yeah, sure. I guess I do need to see this. So I went and saw it, and sure enough, I laughed my ass off, and then I walked away being like, all right, sure, a Finding Nemo sequel. Why not? And I liked it more than Monsters University. So, yeah, it's got that going for it. Yeah, and I'd be interested to see more at this point.
Yeah, exactly. One movie this month that I remember everyone going, you have to see it, it's going to be awesome. I went with all my mates. I'm not the biggest Warcraft fan. I have never really played World of Warcraft. I've never ever done anything, but I went and saw the movie and I fucking hated it. It was so bored. I was just so fucking bored, and I was sitting there going, what the hell is happening? I could not tell you anything that was going on. I didn't know any of the characters' names. I didn't know what the hell they were talking about. I was turning to my mate and said, what the fuck is happening? And my mate just went, I don't know. And then my other mate next to him went, oh no. And he kept explaining. I said, why isn't that in the fucking movie? He was explaining.
Yes.
Hey, put it in the fucking movie so that I can actually know what the fuck is going on. But a great movie that month that I really, really loved and really enjoyed was The Conjuring 2. Yes, it's not as good as the first Conjuring, but it's so much fun, and it's so like, I enjoy horror movies that can scare you and make you I just enjoy these type of horror movies where if you watch them with a whole bunch of mates, you can really just enjoy it together. And I really, really enjoy those type of movies. Now You See Me 2 was okay. What I loved about Now You See Me 2 was it had a really great Daniel Radcliffe performance. I thought Daniel Radcliffe in that movie was actually really good, and you got to see a different side of him that we hadn't seen before.
He had a lot of fun with that role, for sure. Like, he really got into it.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a farting corpse, but he got into that one. Kristen, what movies in June that year stood out for you?
Okay, so ones we didn't really talk about, Neon Demon also had its wide release in June, and that was a trippy movie, as I said before today, actually. And no, it was really well done, visually gorgeous, but super trippy. Conjuring 2, I really enjoyed. I like horror movies that have more of a storyline, so I think that's it was really good. I like that it furthered it. It wasn't as good as the first one for me, but that's fine. Warcraft, I liked half of the movie. When they weren't talking about humans, I found it quite enjoyable. But I also enjoyed the lore and played all the games, and yeah. So that's something else. And then in the chat, they were talking about Hunt for the Wilder People, which is a great movie. And honestly, that movie just missed out on my top 10. It was really close to making it. It was limited release. It never had a full release in the United States. Limited in June, began its circuit run at festivals in March. So that's probably why it wasn't brought up, but it was a fantastic movie. Just really fun, and I loved Sam Neill in that movie. He was just really great. So yes, we are paying attention to the chat, and thanks for bringing that up, because I would not have brought it up at all, and I love that movie. So
yeah. So the June movies that I missed to talk about were Me Before You, The Shallows, Free State of Jones, Pop Star, never stop popping. Swiss Army Man and Neon Demon and Hunt for the Wilder People. They were the ones that we did miss. They were the big ones, at least, that we missed. All right. Let's move on to July. July 2016 was a weird month. Secret Life of Pets won the box office. That was the highest film with 368 million. But after that, it kind of just petered out. With we also had The Legend of Tarzan, the BFG, Ghostbusters, Star Trek Beyond, Jason Bourne, and my most hated film of 2016, Batman: The Killing Joke, which counts because I had to pay to see it in the theater. Matt, let's start with you. What did you think of July 2016?
Yeah, it wasn't really great July, but Tarzan, what was it? The Legend of Tarzan. Me and my dad a couple of weeks ago saw this movie, caught it on like HBO, like 5 minutes into it. We watched the entire thing. We both looked at each other and we were like, what the hell did we just watch? That was not really that good of a movie at all. If you want to watch a good Tarzan movie, go watch the 1999 Disney one, because I don't know what the hell that was. It was just like weirdly political and way too much bad CGI.
Yeah, way too much bad CGI. Chris Clark, what were your thoughts on July 2016?
The Tarzan movie was really, really weird. What else came out, you said?
BFG, Ghostbusters, Star Trek Beyond.
That's what I wanted to talk about, is Ghostbusters. I actually love that movie. I know that a lot of the marketing was shit. It was balls. It was terrible. But when you go see that movie, you realize that it isn't actually. It's a fun little tribute to Ghostbusters. Is it good? Yeah, I liked it. Does it have flaws? Of course it does. But the cast was funny. They had great chemistry. I'll also say that you mentioned The Killing Joke. Yeah, that movie disappointed me as a comic book reader. They added to the beginning, and I think it detracted from the actual message of the actual story, especially with Barbara Gordon. But those are the two that pop out to me. I would take Ghostbusters over Killing Joke any day of the week.
Yeah, Ghostbusters, to me, I really got a kick out of it, and I'm actually really disappointed we're not going to get a sequel to it. I really, really enjoyed it. Kristen, do you also want to talk about the other big movie that is on your list that came out in July that I completely forgot about? Captain Fantastic.
Captain Fantastic, yes. Matt Ross did a great job directing this movie. It's any movie that has more than 2 children in it, automatically, if they're good, gets like really good graces for me, because kids are really hard to work with, especially varied ages. This movie has like 8 children in it, and they're all varied ages, and some of them are very young, and they all do a fantastic job. And yeah, Matt Ross directs them very well, and it also has just an amazing performance by Viggo Mortensen, one of his best ones. And if you have followed his career, that is saying a lot. He is an actor who has so many good performances. And yeah, I really, really loved it so much. I wish that it had gotten more attention, but it was actually a really good year. I know people complain about 2016 not being a good year for cinema, but I thought it was a great year for cinema. So it just happened that it came out in a year with a lot of competition. So, but Star Trek Beyond was great, and it didn't make any money, and that sucks.
Yeah,
because it was really good. It was the best new Star Trek movie since the first one. And I enjoyed the heck out of that movie. It was fun. It was beautiful to look at. It had some great acting in it. The directing was great, and I didn't know how that was going to go because, the last movie that Jeremy Lin had directed was like Fast and the Furious, right? So, and I hate Fast and the Furious. So, yeah, no, I was surprised at how much I liked it, and yeah, I just wish that it had done better. I wish more people watched it, because the next movie is maybe not going to come out anytime soon because of that. So
it'll be very interesting with it coming out. Ryan, what were your thoughts on the films?
So Batman: Mask of the Phantasm Great fucking Batman movie, and you're like, yeah, you got Kevin Conroy in there, and then you got Mark Hamill in there, and it comes together so well. It's really well made, really well directed, and then years later, into adulthood, childhood's over, life sucks, and so do the movies. Next thing you know, you're like, yeah, cool, we're gonna get Mark Hamill one last time as the Joker on the big screen. It's gonna be fucking amazing, and it's fucking boring. And that's what you end up. It's just like, oh, so this over to there, and this is what happens there. Wow, I just wasted $10. Can I go home? I'm just gonna watch Mask of the Phantasm again. I don't want to be here for this. Who drove me here? Because no. And then you had Star Trek 3, which, as Kristen said, she said it all. It's a very well done film. I liked it more than Into Darkness, and as much as I liked that other Star Trek. Those are the three that's my experience right there. Those three movies. That's Star Trek in a box for me, and I'm happy right there. I'm good with those. I don't need a fourth. I don't need anything else. None there, none there. That's good. Those three, they satisfy it. For the rest of it, I'll just watch Star Wars. So I appreciated it, though, and it was a lot of fun.
I said Jeremy Lin, by the way.
Definitely not Jeremy. Totally not Jeremy.
Justin Lin.
Thanks, chat, for pointing out
Jacob
that I'm
Lin.
stupid. I appreciate
John
it.
Lin.
All right, guys. Let's move on
Jericho Lin.
Let's move on to August in 2016. We had Suicide Squad, Sausage Party, Pete's Dragon, Hell or High Water, and Kubo and the Two Strings. Interesting about August as well. Since February of 2016, there has been at least one $100 million opening film every single month. August is the last month to have such film, and Suicide Squad is the only film to gross over $100 million in the entire month with $325 million. Sausage Party comes in second at 97. Ryan, we'll start with you. What are your thoughts on the month of August?
I'm sorry. You're going to have to repeat those because you just cut out. I am so sorry.
Oh, good. Suicide Squad, Sausage Party, Pete's Dragon, Hell or High Water, and Kubo and the Two Strings.
That's the one. Hell or High Water. Wow. Just wow, 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 wow. It is so good. Well written, well directed, very smooth, so well edited. Great performances. Chris Pine, Ben something or other, and Jeff Bridges. All across the board. 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. I think it was my second favorite movie of the year because it was. And I love it so much I could watch it every day of the year and be happy.
All right, Chris Clark, anything that stood out for you?
Sausage Party was amazing, especially towards like that montage with the Meatloaf singing Meatloaf. That was hilarious. And the ending where all the foods have like sex. But
yeah.
You know, it's real.
Have like sex.
Have like sex. Yes. It should have been called Eating Out. But look, it's
and the comment of the year.
Oh my god! Holy shit!
Well, yeah, it was a great movie. It was funny. It actually makes me kind of hungry right now. So back to you, Jacob.
Okay, I'm just gonna talk about one of my favorites of the year, and that was Kubo and the Two Strings. This was such an adorable film. The animation is spectacular. Everything about this movie is just beautiful to look at. I absolutely just adored the animation, and this was the Zelda movie that we didn't get, and we probably never will. But this is Lycra, do a Zelda movie. Nintendo, let them do a Zelda movie. Yeah. Kristen, what do you want to talk about?
Kubo and Two Strings. This is it. Move on. I think I got broke.
Yeah. Chris Clark just broke the fucking show. What the fuck? Holy shit.
Kubo was a delightful movie. The behind the scenes on it are amazing, and yes, I loved it. I loved it a lot. That's all I got.
So the chat is bringing up another movie that I completely forgot about, and that was Don't Breathe. That also did open, and that did really, really great numbers for a horror movie in August. Matt, other than the other movie you want to talk about, do you want to talk about? Has anyone here actually seen Don't Breathe? Kristen, talk about Don't Breathe.
Wow, like what a I mean, it is a good movie. It's one of those that I saw later than I should have because everyone hyped it up so much, and then when I finally did watch it, I thought it. I mean, maybe not gimmicky is the right word, but yeah, it felt a little gimmicky. Like the scary parts were the parts in the dark, and they were done really well. But I thought that that's where all the horror came from, and yeah. So if I had seen it earlier, I probably would have liked it better, but it had been overhyped like crazy. I still enjoyed it. It just wasn't there for me the whole way. So yeah.
Yeah. Matt, talk about the one you want to talk about.
Hell or High Water was really, really good. I think, God, that might be my favorite Chris Pine performance, and he's given a lot of great ones like Princess Diaries 2, Royal Engagement. So, I mean, the bar is just set high for him.
Ooh, sorry, we're gonna have to go with a big fuck no on that one.
It was a great movie. Of course, the one Jacob wants me to talk about is Suicide Squad. Listen, this movie, I thought the ensemble saved it. And actually, this is the one movie I've seen with Jack Courtney in which I did not want to drive a nail through my head while watching it. So that's something.
Fair enough. All right. Well, that is the month of August. Let's move on to, if there's anything we've missed, let us know in the chat. I am watching the chat, and if I've missed anything, shout it out, and I will try and mention it at the end. But let's go on to September. Not a lot happened in September. We did get Sully, The Magnificent Seven, which is a fantastic film, Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children, which sucked, and Deepwater Horizon. I'm going to start this one off. I adored Deepwater Horizon. This movie is amazing. I didn't get to see his other film this year, but Deepwater Horizon to me was a lot. I really, really thought this is probably the best I've ever seen Mark Wahlberg, other than The Departed. I think this is one of his best movies. But Kristen, we'll go to you. What do you want to talk about in September?
Magnificent Seven, I really enjoyed. It was almost like a good old school Western, which I love. It wasn't quite there. But it was still really, really good. I just wish it had been just a little bit better. And then, yeah, I think for me, that was the one that I watched that I really enjoyed that month. So, yeah.
Yeah. So, box office this month, Sully was the highest grossing film of the month with $125 million. It's amazing to think that in 2016, 125 is the highest amount of money any film has made. And in about maybe this time next week, it is going to have destroyed it. But Matt, what in September stands out to you?
I mean, Deepwater Horizon was fantastic, but Magnificent Seven, I sadly have to disagree with Kristen. I thought it was a great throwback to old school Westerns. And listen, I love the original, but I actually really enjoyed this updated version. And I mean, to play my card, this is number 50 on my top favorite films. This is such an endlessly rewatchable movie. I got the Blu-ray when it came out. I watched this movie. I actually just watched it a couple of weeks ago. I love Magnificent Seven.
All right. Ryan, any thoughts?
Yeah, Sully, I was expecting bigger things from it, but I still enjoyed it. It kind of was, it was a little paper thin for me. So like when I left, I didn't feel like I was as satisfied as I hoped, but I still, watching it, I mean, they told the story as much as they could. There really wasn't much more to it, so it kind of had to be a short film with not a whole lot going on. I mean, you can only put so much interest into it. So it was good for what it was. And then, of course, yes, Magnificent Seven had some great balls to the wall action, and I appreciate it for that. But overall, I mean, I was a little bit let down by this month as a whole. So
yeah. All right. And Chris, your thoughts on September?
Oh, well, the big one that sticks out to me is Magnificent Seven. Sadly, it's not going to make our tournament, but I loved it. I loved every single performance in that movie. I especially Vincent D'Onofrio with his like big husky mountain man, like, and they had the high voice. You guys know what I'm talking about?
yeah.
Yeah. That was fun. And it's one of those remakes that supersede the original, which is very rare, in my opinion. 100%. And Magnificent Seven was a fantastic watch and the highlight of September.
All right, let's move on to October. Funny enough, October is the only month of 2016 to not have a $100 million movie. Every other month has at least $100 million movie. The highest grossing film of October was The Accountant with $86 million. That month, we also had Jack Reacher, Never Go Back, The Girl on the Train, Birth of a Nation, which is, I think, a very interesting talk about directing and an Oscar campaign, Inferno, and the Best Picture winner, Moonlight. Ryan, we'll start with you. Anything you want to talk about in the month of October?
I am set up to let you guys down because the only movie that I've seen out of the ones you spoke about was The Accountant, and not until very recently. October, usually I end up being very busy with a lot of other stuff, so I don't always get to go see movies, but I did see The Accountant kind of late in the game, and I enjoyed it for what it was. There were parts of it that I appreciated it, and there were parts that it really let me down. Overall, I thought it was a good enough action movie. I was entertained, and that's all I expected. I didn't expect some incredible movie. I didn't expect Warrior, even though it's still Gavin O'Connor. But I was satisfied, and what more could I really ask for? But unfortunately, I still haven't seen any of the other movies. And to be honest, I'm not very interested to see a lot of these other movies, so I stuck with what I liked.
All right. Chris Clark, let's go to you. Anything this month stand out?
I really I don't think I saw anything in this month, actually. I'm actually, you know what? As long as I like the month of October.
Halloween,
going by the box office of 2016, I don't think anyone saw a movie in October. Kristen, what did you think?
Okay, so I ended up putting The Accountant on my top 10 list. However, that's changed since I made it last night. It probably is on there because it's the one that I've seen most recently. I really enjoyed it. It was surprising, I thought. Not so much in the twist, because there is a twist that I called about maybe 25 minutes into the movie. So it's not like it was super imaginative or anything, but it was a great way to show kind of a different type of action hero. Definitely not your traditional kind of action star. And I like the way that they portrayed someone who, had a special need. And I appreciated that he wasn't like some sort of like crazy person, right? Like he had a life and he was able to live it normally, kind of. I mean, he was an assassin, but a slightly normal life. So yeah, I enjoyed it. It was a lot more surprising than I thought it would be. And it was definitely the best one I saw in October.
Matt, did you get to see anything in October 2016?
Yes, I did. My second favorite film of the year, which is The Accountant. I know it sucks that everyone else has talked about it, but I really loved this movie. I thought the action was great in it. I thought the character of Christian Wolf was fantastic. Ben Affleck is one of my favorite actors of all time. This is in my top 3 performances of his. It was great, and I actually did see the twist coming. When I watched it again, I probably should have the first time, but this movie is a movie that I have been, since it came out on Blu-ray, I have been telling people to go and see. And most people have loved it.
All right. Well, for me, actually, I think Birth of a Nation is an interesting story in director's past can destroy an Oscar campaign and can destroy a marketing of a movie. Birth of a Nation coming out of Sundance was the movie of the year. It was everyone was talking that this movie is going to win Best Picture. This movie is going to win Best Director, Best Actor, and it wasn't even in the Oscars. Moonlight won Best Picture that year. I don't think anyone on the panel has actually seen Moonlight. Unfortunately, it was just one of those movies that just slipped through the cracks and I haven't been able to catch up. But let's move on to November. November is a stacked month. I didn't realize how busy this month is. We had Doctor Strange, Arrival, Hacksaw Ridge, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, Manchester by the Sea, The Edge of 17, Nocturnal Animals, Moana, and Lion. Guys, really quick, try and talk about what some of your favorites from that month. Matt, I'll start with you. What do you want to talk about?
I really like Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. I know a lot of people don't, but I'm a casual Harry Potter fan, and so I really enjoyed the magic of Fantastic Beasts.
Fair enough. Kristen, what were your thoughts?
My favorite movie of the year, Arrival. Beautiful. The sound design and the score and the visuals all worked together flawlessly. And it was such a cool story.
Yeah, no, Arrival is my favorite movie of the year. I really enjoyed Hacksaw Ridge, but again, another big one was Edge of 17. I thought Edge of 17 was a really well crafted, it felt like a modern day John Hughes film. Moana is probably one of Disney's better animated films, and Doctor Strange was awesome. Ryan, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I love Doctor Strange for the trippy visuals and just the story. And it was something different. I mean, as a superhero, I've always loved the Doctor Strange comics, and the film really lived up to my expectations. And then Arrival was, just a beautiful film. And Denis it seems as though he can do no wrong. So,
Chris Clark, take it away.
Well, Moana was really fun. The Rock killed it. It was a really fun movie. I went to see it with my cousins. It was fun. Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. It was a great period piece. I like that. And it was a good standalone from the Harry Potter movies. I actually think it was better than 4 and 6 and whatever the other later ones are. I'm not a fan of those. And I think Fantastic Beasts really did that for me. And Doctor Strange was fun. It shouldn't have been as good as it was, and it was fantastic. Benedict Cumberbatch was great as I really fucked up.
You get one more try.
One more try.
Benedict Cumberbatch. Right?
There you go.
I'll give you.
I'll give you a pass.
I'm trying to give you that.
Yeah,
I'll give you a pass.
I'm sorry. I butchered it more than the meat in the store. But I mean, look. This Doctor Strange is great. It was a fun movie, and that's what I think about Thanksgiving month. So back to you, Jay.
All right. So the number one film at the box office that month was Moana, surprisingly, and then Fantastic Beasts, and then Doctor Strange. The chat are bringing up some great movies as well. Lion was a great movie, but most people are saying it's either Doctor Strange or Arrival. Let's move on to December. Obviously, the biggest movie of the month was Rogue One, A Star Wars Story. It was the number one at the box office with $532 million domestically. Other films in the month of December were Patriots Day, Live by Night, Hidden Figures, Silence, Sing, Fences, and La La Land. Guys, I'll start with Ryan. Other than what do you want to talk about?
I'll talk about La La Land because I was so excited for this movie. I freaking love Whiplash, one of my favorite movies. Oh, so incredible. So I just could not wait for La La Land, and it lived up to all expectations. Emma Stone, great actress. Ryan Gosling, incredible actor. Both great performances, incredible writing, incredible directing, very good score, very good music. I love how he brought back that 1950s musical feel, because I feel like we just don't get enough movies like that anymore. They get skipped over, they get forgotten, and I feel like it shouldn't have gone anywhere in the first place. I mean, it's just sometimes it's fun to just sit back and enjoy something simple, and that's what La La Land to me was. It was a simple love story. It didn't throw a lot of curves my way, but I appreciated how it progressed, and the music is still to this day incredible. I listen to it all the time.
Kristen, anything you want to shout out?
I'm sad that I'm only going to talk about one because there was a lot of really good indie movies that month. But the answer is La La Land, of course. I'm a fan of old school musicals, and it really just reminded me of some great old school musicals. And the singing and the dancing might not have been the best ever, but the chemistry between the two leads was fantastic. And I'm a big fan of good singing and dancing, and I did not care 1 second that it was not the best it could have been. It was just visually beautiful, and the story was beautiful, and I loved it. I loved it so much.
Yeah. Matt, anything you want to shout out?
Sing was actually, I thought, a really fun animated movie. Saw it with my siblings not too long ago. Patriots Day in my top 3 of the year. I think it might be my favorite. No, The Fighter is probably still my favorite Mark Wahlberg movie, but just such a great movie, especially for someone who grew up in New York and watched all of this happen live on TV. But my favorite of the year is Rogue One. I love this movie. I know it has problems, but to me, it is the best Star Wars movie we've had since Empire.
Fair enough. And Chris, what do you want to shout out?
All right. La La Land I actually just recently watched, actually with Matt and Evan, who actually thinks this is his second favorite musical of all time. I loved it. It was fun. I wouldn't say the music is as memorable as I wish it was, but it was still fantastic. The story was great. Emma Stone killed it. And of course, the director also did Whiplash, which I think is one of the best movies ever made. He killed it with La La Land. And I'm going to say Sing. Yeah, I liked Sing. It was enjoyable. You got a gorilla singing I'm Still Standing. Yeah, by what is his name? Elton John. I love Elton John. Yeah, and what do you call it? And Rogue One, sadly, I feel was a really big letdown for me. Rogue One, I actually put at the bottom of the heap when I think about Star Wars. It was okay. I mean, it wasn't a movie, and we'll talk about that in the Star Wars watch along when we see it. But Rogue One, although I can see where everybody loves it, it's a very enjoyable film. It just doesn't meet the standards of the others in the franchise, in my opinion. But yeah, December was a very, very, very December-y month.
Yeah, look, Rogue One to me was a bit of a letdown. I enjoyed it, but I didn't love it. Fences is something that I don't think enough people talk about. It is a very long movie, but it has some of the best performances you will see all year. I wish Denzel won it over Casey Affleck. I think Denzel was a much better performance than Casey in that film. Live by Night, what a letdown. Like, what a letdown to go from Argo to Live by Night is such a letdown. Silence was one of those, yeah, it's criminally underrated, but I think it was just one of those films that just didn't quite live up to what it should have been, maybe. La La Land, again, one of my favorites of the year. It's my second favorite film of the year. La La Land, I think there was it's not that good hype around it, and no, it is that good. It is that good, and it did deserve all the love it got. But guys, let's move on to our tournament. We have 16 films in a bracket. All right, number 1, Batman versus Superman versus Civil War. Guys, let us know in the comments, what do you think? But Kristen, start with you. What are you picking?
I mean, Civil War.
All right, we have 1 for Civil War. Matthew Kearns, what do you got?
BVS.
BVS. Ryan, what have you got?
Have you seen Chris Evans's bicep in that movie?
Yes.
It's
Yes, I
fucking
did.
Civil War. When you have a bicep that big, your movie automatically
hold
wins.
Hold on. Ben Affleck.
Nah,
Hey,
Chris
we're
Evans.
fucking Boston, all right? Hey, we go from Boston. Yeah. Fuck no. Fuck no.
Chris Clark, what do you got?
Oh, Batman v Superman, easy. I liked Civil War, but Batman v Superman all the way.
All right, and I've got Civil War. Civil War just is that much better of a film. So Civil War takes it, and we then go on to the other side of the bracket: Arrival versus Midnight Special. Guys, sound it off in the comments. The comments also do agree with us saying Civil War wins, but sound off in the comments, Arrival or Midnight Special. I'll start. It's Arrival. Arrival is the best movie of 2016 for me, so Arrival wins this one. Chris Clark, what do you got?
Oh, I got Arrival. I've never seen Midnight Special, but it sounds like it's okay. But Arrival derives.
All right. And Ryan, what do you got?
I'm sorry, I heard Arrival and
Midnight Special.
Midnight Special.
Okay, yeah, Arrival. Too easy.
All right. Matt, what have you got?
Arrival.
And Kristen, do I even have to ask?
The answer is Arrival. However, Midnight Special is such a fucking good movie.
Unfortunately, it did just miss out. Next up, we have La La Land versus Patriots Day. Guys, sound off in the comments. Kristen, I'm going to start off with you. What have you got? La La Land or Patriots Day?
Come on, it's La La Land.
Matt, what have you got?
Come on, it's Patriots Day.
Oh, Ryan, what are you picking?
Even though I'm a New Englander at heart, Boston strong, I still got to go for La La Land. It's the better made movie in this case.
All right, Chris Clark, what have you got?
With Patriots Day being about the Boston Massacre, yeah, it was good, but I'm gonna go La La Land. I had a lot of fun watching it. Yeah, La La Land.
All right, yeah, sorry guys, it's La La Land. La La Land wins this one.
Do you guys need me, or should I just go?
Yeah, you're
Bye.
fine. We don't need New York Rangers fans up in this.
Paul asked, why did Midnight Special get shafted? It's simply because it wasn't on enough people's lists.
It was on mine.
It just unfortunately made it. That's just how it went up against, unfortunately. All right, so La La Land moves on to the next round. Next up, we have Deadpool versus The Jungle Book. I am going to be the odd one out here. I'm going Jungle Book. Chris Clark, what do you got?
I'm going Jungle Book. I like Deadpool. I like Deadpool, but I didn't go see Deadpool like twice. I liked Jungle Book a lot when I was in New York. It was great. It was fun, and it has again Christopher Walken as an orangutan.
Matt, Ryan, who you got?
This isn't as easy as a choice as I would expect, but I still have to go Deadpool.
Oh, all right. Matt, can you tie it up, or are you going to give it away?
I'm gonna go Deadpool.
All tied up. Kristen, you have the deciding vote. What do you got?
This one is like really actually kind of difficult. I'm having a hard time with this.
Yeah.
This is fucking hard.
Yes.
I mean, I love Deadpool, but Jungle Book was really good too. I'll go Deadpool just because I've seen it more than Jungle Book.
All right.
Seems like she was going the other way.
No,
I thought she was too.
They were both really good, but I've seen Deadpool at least twice more, so
all right, guys. Well, it seems the comments are also split. A few people are saying Deadpool, a few others are saying Jungle Book, but again, Deadpool wins. All right, next one. This is a tough one for me. Sing Street versus Hacksaw Ridge. Kristen, I'm sorry, you got to start this one off.
Sing Street, Sing Street, Sing Street.
Sing Street. Matt, what do you got?
Sing Street.
Ryan?
Hacksaw motherfucking Ridge. Mel Gibson came back and he killed it.
All right. Chris, what do you got?
I'm going to say Sing Street. Rocket.
Oh, Sing Street wins. Yeah, sorry guys, it is Sing Street. I adored Sing Street. Hacksaw Ridge is an amazing film, but it just misses out. So that we have our second round. Oh, that's going to be a tough one. La La Land. Sorry. Our next one is Rogue One versus Zootopia. I'm going to start with this. It is Zootopia all the way. Chris Clark, what do you got?
Oh, Zootopia by a landslide.
Ryan, what do we got?
I don't know. This is a hard one, but on the outside shot, I think I'm gonna go Zootopia.
Oh, Zootopia is one. Zootopia
Doesn't even
kicked
matter
out.
what Matt says.
Doesn't even matter, Matt. What have you got? He's gone.
And he's gone.
Kristen, what do you
Oh
got?
my God.
I was also gonna say Zootopia, but I feel bad, so I'm gonna say Rogue One.
You don't have to pity me, all right?
All
I don't. Yeah, okay, fine. Zootopia. Fuck you.
Whoa, shit.
Whoa, okay.
Whoa,
I
whoa.
think you didn't have to
I mean,
pity me.
don't
I
get me
didn't say
wrong,
you had
Rogue
to-
One,
to
like-
be mean. Come on, Kristen.
All right. Yeah,
Love you,
Matt,
Matt.
I'm assuming you were going to pick Rogue One.
Yeah, favorite movie.
All right. That's unfortunate. But let's just make life even more difficult for Kristen because now she has to pick up two of her favorites. Kubo and the Two Strings versus the Nice Guys.
That's not fair. Okay, nice guys.
Oh, Nice Guys. Matt, what do you got?
Nice guys.
Ryan?
Nice guys. Too easy.
Oh, that's hard. Chris, what do you got?
Kubo.
I would have gone Kubo too, but it's Nice Guys wins this one fairly easily by the looks of it. All right. And last, we have Hidden Figures versus Hell or High Water. I'm starting this one off. It's Hidden Figures. Chris, what do you got?
Oh, Hidden Figures was a great biopic. Yeah, I forgot to talk about it, but yeah, Hidden Figures. With the president, the three, yeah, it was great. Hidden Figures all the way.
All right. Ryan?
Garbage. It's Hell or High Water. Come on.
Oh, are we going to make this one a tight one? Matt, what do you got?
Oh, this is a hard.
Come to the dark side, motherfucker.
I love both of these movies.
If you like John
Oh.
Rooker, you're probably gonna choose Hell or High Water.
Yes. The outlaw, motherfuckers.
Wow. I think I have to give it just by the slightest edge
We're all waiting.
to Hell or High Water.
All right.
Ooh, Kristen, what are you doing? Hell or High Water or Hidden Figures?
Hell or high water.
Yes.
Hell or High Water. Hell or High Water wins.
Hidden Figures is
All
an
right.
easy movie, though.
Oh yeah.
Nobody
it's great.
cares. Nobody cares.
We
Some
have
people-
our first round bracket. All right. Civil War versus Hell or High Water. Arrival versus The Nice Guys. La La Land versus Zootopia. And Deadpool versus Sing Street. I'm going to start with you, Kristen. Deadpool versus Sing Street. What do you got?
Sing Street, 100%.
Matt, what do you got?
Sing Street.
Oh, Ryan.
Deadpool.
And Chris?
Deadpool.
I've got
Tiebreaker.
Sing Street. I got Sing Street. Sorry, I had Sing Street at the start. It was always going to be Sing Street, so I'm sorry. Yeah. Next up, we have, all right, to play Sing Street, Civil War versus Hell or High Water. I am going, you know what? I'm going Civil War. Chris, what have you got?
Civil War beat Batman v Superman, right? Round one.
Yeah.
Oh
Yes.
What is up with my picks in round one not making it to round two?
No. Now you know how I feel. Now you know how I feel every time
Your
we've ever
picks not
played
making
this
it?
game.
Hashtag late to the party. Anyway, I'm gonna go Civil War.
Oh, all right. Ryan.
Fuck. Civil War just barely edges out Hell or High Water.
Wow.
It's number one versus number two. Like,
It is gone. All right. Matt, what have you got?
I probably would have went Hell or High Water.
you would have gone for
Okay.
Civil War.
Would have gone Civil War. All right, and
I
Kristen,
also
what do you
would have
got?
gone Civil War.
All right. So
That was
next one.
That was a hard one.
It
All
was.
right. Next one we have Arrival versus The Nice Guys. Kristen, I'm going to start with you.
It's Arrival, which my number one movie of the year. It has to be.
All right. Matt, what do you got?
Nice Guys only because I've seen it more, and I saw Arrival last night, but I've seen Nice Guys twice. So Nice Guys.
Ooh. Nice Guy. All right. Ryan, what do you got?
The Nice Guys by the slightest of edges. It hurts my heart though.
Oh, Chris, are you gonna give it? Are you gonna give it to Nice Guys? Are you gonna tie this all up?
I'm not a nice guy. I'm going Arrival.
And sorry, number one film of the year. It's got to be Arrival. Sorry, it's the number one film of the year. But we
Doesn't
now,
matter.
oh man, we make it difficult for going into this next one. La La Land versus Zootopia. I'm going La La Land. But Chris, what do you got?
I'm going La La Land too. I'm going La La Land. La La Land.
Ryan,
Damien Chazelle, motherfuckers, La La Land.
Matt,
La La Land.
and Kristen.
La La Land, of course.
Yes.
Man,
Have
we are set up for a barn burner. All right, guys. Civil War versus Sing Street. Kristen, what have you got?
I'm gonna cry. It's Sing Street.
Matt, what do you got?
I really love Civil War, but you know what? Just for fun, I'm gonna stick with my Irish brothers and go Sing Street.
Ryan, what have you got?
Civil War, the bicep, guys. The fucking bicep, all right?
Oh shit, this could get interesting. Chris, what have you got?
Oh, Civil War, easy.
Thank you.
Civil War, guys. A four is beating a first seed. It's Sing Street. Sorry, it's Sing Street.
No!
It's Sing Street. Sing Street is just a much better movie than Civil War. So Sing Street
Garbage. I hate
makes
that
it to the
movie now.
final against the winner of La La Land and Arrival.
Ugh.
I am going Arrival because it's 1 and 2. But Chris, what have you got?
I'm going with Rival. It starts with an A.
Ryan, what do you have?
Arrival.
Matt,
Arrival.
Kristen.
Yeah, that's my 1 and 2 as well, but it's Arrival.
All right, so we are setting up a very interesting final. Arrival versus Sing Street. This is the number one. This is 1 versus 4. Kristen, what have you got?
Yeah, it's Arrival. It's still Arrival. It's 1 versus 3 for me, but still Arrival.
Matt, what do you got?
I know everyone's gonna pick the other one, but Sing Street.
Ryan?
I'm pissed that this is how it's ending up, but it's still Arrival.
Chris, what have you got?
Not a fan of streets. I'm going with Arrival.
It's yeah. Sorry, guys. It's Arrival. Arrival wins. Arrival is the best movie of 2016.
My number one choice finally won something.
Did Chris say he's a fan of coming, not going?
Oh my god!
Any which way but loose. Yeah.
What did we miss out? I know. Oh man, the chat is pissed that La La Land didn't make it to the final.
Well, Manning Franks is pissed.
Manning Franks is the chat, guys. Is the chat.
But a lot of people are very happy that Arrival did win, but some people are also very annoyed that Arrival won. Guys, thank you so much for joining us for this live show. We did go a little bit over, and I apologize for that. But Kristen, where can the good people find you online?
Smith_K10, the number, not the word, on the Twitters and the Instagrams, and also on the Stardusts, where you can watch my review of it. That'll go up in like 5 seconds.
All right. Matthew Kearns, where can they find you online?
You guys can find me at Kearns_Matt. Matthew on Twitter, MattMood611 on YouTube, and hosting Movie Fandom Show right here every other Wednesday on Take 3.
Ryan, you're back. where can they find you online?
Yes, they can find me at Clan McClellan. That's Clan MCLELLAN. Peace out, motherfuckers.
All right. And Chris, where can they find you online?
You can find me at Chris Clark 8788. Those numbers mean nothing. Or you can find me on YouTube at No Man's Land Entertainment. Bada bing, bada boom.
Oh, hell yeah.
I do want to also thank Evan for his 30-second spot with Keep That in and trying to
we can forget him.
No, we love
guys,
Evan.
Yeah.
Late to the
Love
party
Evan.
have also joined the chat, living up to their name.
Oh, you late?
Bye.
You deserved it. You deserve being late.
But guys, thank you so much for joining. We will see you next week. We potentially have some very special guests next week. Haven't confirmed it yet, but we will let you know during the week if it is confirmed. But guys, thank you so much for joining. Remember, the first weekend of November, we are doing the Star Wars marathon. I am so freaking pumped. Guys, we'll see you next time. I'm Jacob Blunden for Take 3. We'll see you next time. Take care.